Diary of One Who Disappeared by Jason Eric Lundberg. October. Encrypted dispatch sent Monday, 1st October, 3:37 p.m. Rick, I've just returned by train from the INDEF camp in Orlando with the rest of the DESD contingent, and things are worse than we suspected. The camp warden, a squat red-faced man named Duke, put on a good show, presenting a Potemkin tent city full of their best-behaved Swees, all smiles, everything clean and proper and in its place, not an untoward word against their prison guards. No complaints about the ability-blocking Kara bracelets they're all forced to wear. Each tent decked out with books and magazines, and even the odd tablet or e-reader, like a fun camping trip instead of indefinite detention. Aside from the canvas of the tents, all of the administration and support buildings were gray concrete. The smell of bleach was strong. Halfway through the tour, Warden Duke decided that we all needed a demonstration of the Kara's effectiveness. One of the model Swees was brought before us, a young Hispanic man with arabesque tattoos on his arms. One of the guards aimed a handheld device with wires all over it at the Swee's bracelet. The metal Kara glowed briefly, and then the warden handed the young man a cup of water. But instead of taking a sip, the Swee waved his other hand over the top of the cup, and the water rose out of it. Of course, I've read the documentation on hydromancers, but to see it in person is a totally different experience. With his outstretched hand, the Swee pulled the water upward into a long tail, and then manipulated the stream into different shapes in the air. The cup had dropped to the ground. One of my DESD colleagues, I think his name is Herman, he works in financial analysis, involuntarily clapped and let out a cry of delight, and then immediately checked his actions at the severe expression on the warden's face. But then the warden's mouth turned into an O as the Swee lengthened the water into a thin tube and whipped it quickly in the direction of the warden's head. It could only have been Providence that collapsed Warden Duke's knees at that moment, saving him from concussion or a lost eye or some worse injury. The guards tackled the water-manipulating Swee to the ground, even as the water whip struck them on their backs and arms. With the wired box, they reactivated the Kara, which glowed again, and then the tube of water lost coherence and came apart in a splash that dampened all of them. The Swee was again contained, so the guards marched him off to one of the support buildings. The warden stood back up and tried to laugh off the incident. Bad apples and all that. But he was clearly rattled that the demonstration had not gone according to plan. I slipped away on the excuse of needing the toilet and was able to meet up with our contact Blair in a service corridor inside the administration building. She handed over a sealed envelope, which I secreted underneath my shirt. Once the camp tour was concluded and I was back in my hotel room, I scanned the enclosed documents and photos and then burned the originals. The digital files are attached to this dispatch. It's clear that the tent city was a ruse, because all the Swees in the concentration camp are actually housed deep underground in fenced-off areas. The Kara bracelets are not even necessary there because the walls are lined with a mesh that acts like an enormous Faraday cage and blocks their superhuman abilities en masse, no matter what kind. They've solved the problem of having to engineer each Kara to work specifically with a given Swee's ability. However, the effect is that the environment looks like a maximum security prison. The electricity of the camp is powered by solar panels, but the Swees themselves are denied sunlight. The technology itself is remarkable, far more advanced than I'd have thought we're currently capable.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?